We gotta bring him in.
No, not we, me. I'm the reason Barry got whammied.
We win and we lose as a team. I'm coming with you.
I'm coming too.
Look, John, I respect this whole special agent situation you got going on, but this problem right here needs someone with you. Green skin and a sick-ass cape.
Call me the Martian Manhunter.
I think you'll find that John's a lot more than just a pretty face.
Guys, hello. Also, Barry and Kara's vitals are all over the place.
Let's go.
All right. Hello, friends. Kid Flash. Oh, I'm so glad you could join the party. I'm such a huge fan of your work. But I have to say, recently your work's been a bit off. You know what I'm talking about? I think maybe it's just that you're a little scared from what happened in the Speed Force. Is that it?
No. And I'm not afraid of anything.
Prove it.
The Flash, all new this Tuesday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
There's a new round of the Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. What about Music Meister Flash there? That is so crazy. It seems like he stole Barry's powers when he has the whammy on him, when he's in that dream state with Kara. So maybe he also stole Kara's powers. Super strong, indestructible speedster. That's so crazy. I feel like people should watch the episode for that, if for nothing else. So there's really like three big things that we have to talk about. One, the season 4 villain. They dropped a really big bomb. 2, the mess with Barry's character. 3, the crossover next season. And actually, I'll add a 4th, smaller crossovers between the shows, like the one they're having with Supergirl. That's kind of a special case because it's a musical, but I'm just talking about having characters from one show go on the other without it having to be like a big 4-night thing. The other big thing is that Stephen Amell teased that he's back on the island filming in the flashbacks, meaning that we're syncing up with the finale in the first moments in the pilot.
You know, what's that guy doing? It just sort of feels like a Monday.
He even posted a picture of the Deathstroke mask, so that's mostly for continuity's sake because that was like one of the opening shots in the pilot, but they could always bring Deathstroke back. It was just a really big deal. It was really cool. Like instantly I recognized where he was when I saw this. So all this comes from the big Paley Fest panel. I'll add a link to that at the end of this. I basically cut it down to like all the really important stuff. They spent a lot of time just being silly, but there was actually some really good information. So the first big thing, the season 4 villain is confirmed to not be a speedster. Now, I know a lot of you are like, didn't they say that in previous seasons? They were mostly talking about the introduction of Dr. Alchemy in there being like a really big overarching villain that was somebody that was a little bit different. They weren't saying that there wouldn't be any speedster villains because the Reverse Flash is like the best example of a character who will always be Barry's biggest villain, but you just can't use him all the time. So he's off on Legends of Tomorrow this season. He'll definitely come back. But when they say the big bad won't be a speedster, that just means that the Reverse Flash won't be the person pulling the strings from behind the scenes. He'll have his own agenda during the season. We can talk about that in a second because there is the Once and Future Flash episode. I almost forgot about that. That should be like a whole other video by itself. So I'll talk about that briefly and then maybe like later this week I'll do a video about it. But the big villain, so they always try to do different characters that they've never done before when it's like a big villain twist. But there are a number of ways that they can use characters that they already have in interesting twists that could be villains in season 4. I know everybody wants Eddie to come back for a big season-long arc and be like a cobalt blue villain from the comics. If you don't know who that is, it's a really crazy comic book twist, so obviously there'd be liberal changes. But he's a long-lost twin of Barry Allen who was stolen at birth, raised by criminals. It had a really bad version of Barry Allen's good life. Like Barry Allen's parents were amazing. He turned out to be this hero, but his secret twin brother was raised by a group of people called the Thawns, so he became Malcolm Thawne. So it was this twist on the Eobard Thawne family, the Reverse Flash family. So the only reason why that wouldn't work as the big bad is because he's kind of a speedster. He has speedster type powers, even though the source of those powers is more mystical. There's like a gemstone that powers him. The flat out best non-speedster villain that they could go with, that they already have on the show right now, is the Rogues. You'd have to cycle the membership a little bit, but there are a ton of Flash Rogues that they haven't done yet. Mirror Master is the de facto leader this season right now because Captain Cold, as of Legends of Tomorrow, is still missing in action. He'll eventually come back on the show alive and well. And they did say when he came back, he would definitely be evil, so he'll be back to his old rogue ways. It would be great to have him back on the main show, but the Rogues is just a really easy group to cycle characters in and out of based on actor availability. You always want like the biggest rogues, but like Heatwave is probably going to stay on Legends, so they'll introduce some new rogues no matter what, even if they're not the big villains. You could also go to Mercury Labs. There are a number of evil scientists that used to work at Star Labs, like Dr. Light. They name-dropped him way back during Arrow Season 2. The first time that Cisco and Caitlin ever appeared on Arrow, they talked about Dr. Light, this crazy person with a bunch of guns that they hadn't seen in a while, but he left all his equipment behind.
This equipment belonged to Arthur Light. Wells fired him 2 years ago.
Why?
Because he was a psycho. Please tell me you can make this work.
I take back what I said. I'll make this quick.
So there are a lot of very brilliant evil scientists out there in the DC universe that used to work at Star Labs in the comics that they could always bring back through Mercury Labs or some other evil organization. The other big place they could pull from is the multiverse. So they keep getting bigger and bigger with the Flash. Like we went to Earth 2 last season. The villain was from Earth 2. Now we have all these characters from different Earths all over the place, including Kara's Earth. So they'll probably be human or someone who used to be human or someone like Grodd who's a creature from Earth but still from Earth. So the really cool thing that they've teed up but haven't really addressed yet is that Gypsy has a father in the comics that is super evil. So she's from Earth 19. They could always tee him up as a big bad. He has powers that go like way beyond what Gypsy and Cisco have, but it's relatively similar. He's not a speedster, but he's incredibly powerful. He had a really cool New 52 comic book story. He's an interesting idea if they ever want to do it, so he's in their back pocket. But the other thing, if they really wanted to, is they could push Caitlin over the edge and she could be one of the big bads for most of the season. Now, the reason I don't think they'll do that, even if she becomes evil for any brief period, is because I feel like they would go for a bigger actor, somebody that's a little bit older with a little more experience. Talking about episode 19, The Once and Future Flash. I got so excited when I heard that this was going to be the title of an episode. It's a seminal Reverse Flash origin story whereby Eobard Thawne in the distant future is a super fan of the Flash. He wants to come back in time to meet him. He wants to meet his hero like anybody would. But he goes to the wrong time period, goes to the Flash Museum, and secretly learns that he's destined to become the Reverse Flash, a villain, and then be killed by Barry Allen himself. So he learns about his own death, it flips him out, and he starts masquerading as Barry Allen to protect himself. But Wally West, who's the main version of the Flash, kicks his ass and sends him back to the future with no memory of what happened. So the episode version of the story will be Barry going to the future to try and learn how to beat Savitar. Like he decides he has to go to the future to learn how things turn out so that he can get more information. But the last big thing, and this is a big one, a true 4-night crossover next season. So technically Legends is on Tuesday nights, so it'd still be a 3-night crossover, but there'd be 4 shows. They would just have a dedicated episode of Supergirl that would tie in instead of like the last 10 minutes of the episode. That would be the big change. They didn't say who the big villains are going to be. They probably have an idea for it. But the even bigger story would be if they did a Legion story. So if they wanted to do like a big crossover with a really crazy sci-fi twist, I feel like they've been building towards Legion on Supergirl, so they'll eventually do it on one of the TV shows. But let me know in the comments, what do you want them to do for the big 4-night crossover, and who do you want the Flash Season 4 villain to be if it's not going to be a speedster? The musical episode is going to happen tomorrow night. I know a lot of you aren't a big fan of the idea of a musical. I'll still do my Easter egg video, so you can just watch that and find out what happened, even if you're not going to watch the episode. I'll still be doing a Flash ring giveaway, so no worries. What's going to happen next is I'll try to finish my Iron Fist videos. There'll be the Flash episode, and one of the Avengers stars was talking about how they would never cross over with the TV show. So that was like a pretty big WTF. I might do a video for that if you guys really want. So congratulations to this week's giveaway winner, Severin Valley. Please private message me on the back end of my channel. There was a new round that started in this video. I'll announce the winner when I post that Flash episode.